Welcome to the DirecTV Classic, a part of ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Championship game of this holiday event. The Pacific Tigers out of the Big West taking on the California Golden Bears from the Pac-12. Starting lineups first for the Tigers, an experienced group and a team that is really playing well. Lorenzo McLeod, a standout in the backcourt for the Tigers. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, for the California Golden Bears, two big-time scorers in Justin Cobbs and Crabbe, and some size underneath the basket as well for the Bears. As we get ready for the start of this one, the California head coach, his 5th year in Berkeley, but a very long, distinguished college coaching career. 31st season as a D1 head coach. Mike Montgomery, 640 career wins for Coach Montgomery. And on the other side of things, Bob Thomason, who himself has been around a long time, has piled up a lot of wins, has had some great teams at Pacific, and this is his final year on the sidelines. He's going to retire after the end of this season. Bob Thomason has his team playing very well in this DirecTV Classic from Anaheim. The officials for the game as we get ready for the start. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham with you from Anaheim. It'll be the Golden Bears with the ball for the first time.
Similarity between these two teams. A lot of what they want to do and accomplish comes in the execution in their half-court sets. They play effort defense, and you see already for the Pacific Tigers, and it's a big reason why they're here right now, Dave. Why they were able to beat Xavier, why they were able to knock off St. Mary's, is because their commitment to the defensive end of the floor.
2 upsets for the Tigers already in this tournament. The baseline jump shot from one of Pacific's top scorers, Ross Rivera, did not go. Crabbe in transition was fouled from behind, and he gets the first basket of the game.
If there's one player on the floor you've got to identify and know where they're at all times, it's Crabbe. In transition, way too much space. Rivera has got to step out and close out to the score. A foul from behind and then one, and it has not been a great DirecTV Classic for Crabbe. His offensive numbers have dipped a little bit. His teammates have picked up his slack, but he could have a breakout game tonight. He came into this tournament leading the nation in scoring.
Crabbe was averaging just under 27 points a game. He's, because of his struggles here in Anaheim, down to about 21 a game. Still a prolific scorer, as McLeod has his shot rejected by Solomon. Richard Solomon, talented big man from the LA area. Here's Justin Cobbs, Cal's other big-time scorer, but he gives it up quickly to the senior Brandon Smith. Crabbe feeling confident in the early going.
He's going to get that point total back up tonight. He's got that look about him, a frustration look last night, or 2 nights ago rather, and tonight he's playing with the utmost confidence and swagger.
Crabbe, but that's a concern for Pacific in the first couple minutes. If he's going to shoot the ball, it's going to be tough for the Tigers in this one. McLeod on the perimeter, up top to Samataku, who misses the jump shot. Kelly, who's been big time on the boards, couldn't grab the offensive rebound. Here's Cobbs in transition with contact, a blocking foul. Justin Cobbs will be shooting free throws.
2 dynamic scores for Cal, off to a good start. Watch the way Crabbe works. Weak side, comes off of 2 screens on the baseline. No help up over the top, easy to finish. Gotta be there on the catch when it's Crabbe. But this young man at the free throw line, Justin Cobbs, he gets to the free throw line about as good as anybody does in the country. Drawing fouls, absorbing contact, 22 free throws in this DirecTV Classic. You see the numbers, 19 points per game. Not only does he get there, but he completes them.
Well, what a start for the Bears, up 7-0. Cobbs just explosive, dynamic. California with the quick start as the Tigers still looking for their first points of this game. It's Cal's defense that's looking real active at the beginning. Rivera to Taku in the corner. Bob Thomason thinks this kid, junior college transfer, can be a big-time player for Pacific. Shot clock down to 6. Rivera with the defense all over him, scores off the glass.
Rivera's had a very nice tournament here in Anaheim, and his versatility has impressed me. He likes to score. He's not a great ball handler, but a one-bounce pull-up he's very comfortable with.
He's a good offensive player. Solomon got the pass from Cobbs, had it poked away. Comes out of there with the basketball and somehow saves it back to Smith. Not pretty, but Cal still has possession. Brandon Smith looking for a teammate. Solomon from the baseline area.
Everything working well for Cal in the early stages of this game. Solomon has had a very nice DirecTV Classic. Has been limited a little bit because of foul trouble. Still averaging about 11 points and 7 rebounds per contest.
6'10" with a lot of skill. Beatty on the perimeter. Knocked out of bounds off of California.
Well, Dave, that was one of the big question marks for Cal coming into the season is were they going to have the toughness they need underneath? And will this team be able to compete over the long haul of a season without the services of Jorge Gutierrez, the Pac-12 Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year a year ago that provided so much for the California Golden Bears? And in the early stages, you've seen players like Crabbe step up, Solomon step up, and Wallace, the freshman off the bench, and a little bit more depth than maybe people expected.
Nifty move from Lorenzo McLeod. Pacific starting to get the offense going. Bears with the ball, leading by 5. Here's Kravish, the player Sean was just talking about, a sophomore. Very active player himself. Trevin Harris off the bench, guarding Alan Crabbe. Not that time. Khalil Kelly might have gotten away with a push-off to grab that defensive rebound. Here's Kelly trailing the play. O'Mara with his all-around offensive game, trying to spin against Kravish. Really had nowhere to go. Finds his teammate cutting to the basket. The dump down. Kelly had the shot pinned between the rim and the backboard.
Good defensive collapse by Cal and interior passing, which Pacific has used to find a great deal of success. Shooting 55% on the tournament, but swarming defense, concentrated effort so far by Cal.
When the ball gets stuck there, it's a jump ball. The arrow favored the Tigers. Harris, who's a good outside shooter, pulled the trigger, missed the 3. Cobbs quickly into the front court. Justin Cobbs weaving his way around the perimeter. Now Brandon Smith attacks. Crabbe into the lane. Good look for Solomon. Missed the shot. Kravish is going to be called for the foul going over the back.
Beautiful pass, though, by Alan Crabbe as he turned that corner, looking into the corner. Cal up to the 5-point lead early in this contest, and Mike Montgomery does have to be pleased overall with his team's focus and execution in the half-court sets.
So the Bears leading 9-4. California from the Pac-12 and expected to be a real contender. The Bears picked in the preseason poll 3rd in that league. UCLA, Arizona expected to be the top 2 teams, but I think each of those showing a little vulnerability in the early season. This is an experienced team with an experienced coach, and who knows, Sean, I think the Bears have a chance to have a special season.
Well, and the thing that Cal has is multiple scores. When you look at Cobbs averaging over 20 points per game, you look at Alan Crabbe averaging over 20 points per game. You've got 2 guys you have to have an awareness of where they're at all times out on the floor, and I think that's really going to help Mike Montgomery's squad. And what it also does, though, Dave, is you realize if you're Cobbs and if you're Crabbe, how much attention the defense is going to show you. So it creates opportunity for Kravish and Solomon and Kreklo when they get him back and healthy, Thurman and Wallace. And all of a sudden, if you get 8 deep for this Mike Montgomery squad, you know that he's going to be able to coach them up and put them in a position to potentially win a championship at the end of the year in this conference.
Meanwhile, Bob Thomason with his Pacific Tigers, who really have been the surprise story in this DirecTV Classic. Pacific took out Xavier, a team that was off to a great start and played pretty well here in this tournament, but Pacific knocked off the Xavier Musketeers and then beat up on St. Mary's in the semifinal game to advance here to the championship.
A tough start to the season for Pacific. They lost Fresno State. They lost by 1 to Oral Roberts, but this tournament has been a breakout for them.
.42 to go, first half. 9-4 California, but Pacific has the ball out of the timeout. The Tigers with Lorenzo McLeod, their senior from Los Angeles. Now off the bench, shot rejected. Tony Gill had it swatted away by Crabbe. There's a very nifty freshman, Tyrone Wallace, for California. Cobbs couldn't get it to Wallace, so he'll reset.
Good push ahead, though. Flattens out the defense when you get the ball deep in the corner to Wallace and then spaces the floor right back out.
Crabbe switched to the left hand to finish in the lane.
Great read, curling off that double baseline screen and elevating up over the top. Not a great shot blocker out on the floor, and there will not be one the entire night for Pacific. So feel free to go after the rim and get in the paint.
Jump shot from the left side. Taku too strong. Bears rebound. Crabbe is really feeling it in the early going. Not that time. Well, we welcome those of you who enjoyed Davidson Gonzaga here to Anaheim. A blocking foul called against the Pacific Tigers. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham for the championship game of this holiday event, the DirecTV Classic from the Anaheim Convention Center. California under Mike Montgomery from the Pac-12, expected to have a good year in that conference. The coach with all the experience and success at the helm in Berkeley, and his Bears are off to a good start against the upstart Pacific Tigers in this one. Tyrone Wallace, a freshman for the Bears, hits a free throw. There's Bob Thomason, his 25th, and it will be his final season. Very distinguished head coach at Pacific, his alma mater. He spent his entire coaching career in Stockton, and he's got his team in his final year on the sideline playing very well. Wallace makes both free throws. California opens up the 13-4 lead.
It started with Alan Crabbe being very aggressive right off the start. And he has got 7 early points, only averaging 14 points a game in this tournament. But it's been those other players like Wallace that have shined.
Three-pointer from the right side and a big shot for Rodrigo de Sosa of Pacific. The Tigers' offense has been stagnant in the early minutes.
De Sosa, one of those guys that comes off the bench, plays with such great energy and hustle, and we've seen how infectious that has been throughout the course of this tournament. They're upset of Xavier and St. Mary's.
Wallace threw the pass, and Crabbe wasn't looking for it, so that's a turnover for Cal. On the move, a little out of control. De Sosa got it back to Gill. Almost traveled. Gill back up top. De Sosa spin move. Off the glass, draws the foul. As Sean mentioned, Alan Crabbe, if you've never seen him before, one of the top scorers in college basketball, playing well early.
Well, out in transition, nobody picks him up. The foul from behind to the finish, and that was the first shot of the game. They got him into a great rhythm and flow. A little counter action, run him off of 2 baseline screens, and then the curl cut, as you see him run around 3 screeners, attack, see the lane, elevate up over the top.
First free throw good from De Sosa, who's provided a spark off the bench for Pacific. There is the junior, Alan Crabbe, from Price High School in Los Angeles. One of the top scorers in the country so far in the early season. And that should not change as the year goes on. He is dynamic on the offensive end.
A preseason Wooden Award candidate himself. A favorite amongst a couple others for the Pac-12 Conference Player of the Year.
Wallace up top to Justin Cobbs, sort of number 2 in that 1-2 combo for the Bears. Very talented player in his own right. Now a foul against Pacific, trying to hound Crabbe all over the court. That one called against Tony Gill underneath the basket, his first personal. So 5-point lead for California.
If you're Bob Thomason, you'd rather give him a foul chugging Crabbe than giving him an open look like that.
Alan Crabbe really feeling it in the early minutes. Count the basket plus a foul.
Alan Crabbe and the execution in these shots are open shots. There's a reason why they're open. It's a great job by the interior bigs for Cal, screening underneath. Alan Crabbe off to a hot start. You see the season numbers, the tournament numbers have brought down his points per game average from where it was before they arrived here in Anaheim, when he was just under 27 points per game.
Well, we've seen teams spend so much energy following him around, trying to deny him the ball, make it tough on Crabbe. And tonight, really for the first time in this tournament, he's getting some open looks. He's making Pacific pay. On the offensive end, the Tigers Find an opening for Trevin Harris, who's been hot from 3, not that time. Travis in traffic. Found a teammate. The Bears will set up the offense. Cobbs on the move. Cobbs with contact, no whistle. Ball comes back to Cobbs. He draws the foul. So Cobbs will be shooting free throws. Coming up on Tuesday, great doubleheader on ESPN, part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. First, Michigan hosts NC State at 7:30 Eastern. Then the top-ranked team in the country, Indiana, at home against North Carolina, 9:30 Eastern, Tuesday on ESPN.
The Big Ten has won the last 3 ACC Big Ten challenges. Will they be able to continue that dominance? Obviously, a great start to the season overall for both conferences, with the Big Ten having 3 teams in the top 5.
Good debate right now, I think, based on quality wins early on. Would you say Indiana, the current #1 team in the country? Duke's got an argument. Duke has piled up some really nice wins in the early season themselves.
In particular, really, that event over the past weekend down at the Atlantis. An excellent weekend for the Duke Blue Devils. They're difficult to beat in those November tournaments.
First few weeks of the season, they've knocked off Kentucky, Louisville. They've beaten VCU, a real good team. DeSosa for Pacific on the offensive end. Cal's playing good defense so far. The Bears have a 10-point lead. Down low, Kelly in traffic, just swarmed. Tigers just not getting open looks. That was a very tough shot, and Solomon went up high, got knocked to the ground, hit the ground hard, got fouled.
Well, I've been very impressed with the interior defense right now for Cal. Ball goes up, Crabbe goes for it. Solomon will go to the opposite end of the floor to shoot, but I've been very impressed with their ability to swarm, because so much of that offense we've seen from Pacific in this tournament has been great interior passing, guys cutting the lane, finding open looks. A big reason why the Tigers had shot 55% from the floor here.
Solomon front end of the 1-and-1, earns the second. I think an indication of how aggressive Cal has been in the first 8 minutes. They are already shooting free throws. 17 fouls in the first 8 minutes against Pacific. Crabbe will get a short rest. He doesn't spend much time on the bench. Solomon with the second free throw, rattles it home. What a start for California.
Everything going right for Mike Montgomery's team right now. He had a chance to win a championship in the tournament, and every team that has won this tournament has gone on to play in the NCAAs. Cal has high hopes to get back there.
DeSosa shoots a 3, in and out. Solomon again on the glass. Here's Tyrone Wallace, very smooth in transition for a freshman.
When Crabbe goes to the bench, that's where Cobbs really starts to become super aggressive.
Finds his teammate Brandon Smith, hits a 3.
Wow. Brandon Smith, not noted for his offense. Hadn't hit a 3-point shot in the entire tournament, but nails one there. California Golden Bears, everything going their way. Execution on the defensive end and offensively as well. They're big.
What a start for Mike Montgomery and his California Golden Bears out of the Pac-12. 23-8 lead against a Pacific team that has beat up on a couple of good teams already in this tournament. Pacific took down Xavier, beat St. Mary's, but the Bears a different story in the early minutes. Alan Crabbe taking a rest on the bench, but he's been a hot shooter. Really, Cal doing just about everything right.
They're sharing the ball. They're being unselfish with the screens that they're setting. Down low in their offense, opening up shooters.
Thurman will be called for a foul with the block on the defensive end, and that sends us to another timeout in Anaheim. California 23, Pacific 8 in the DirecTV Classic.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by Carfax. Just say, show me the Carfax. Ask your dealer or go to Carfax.com. And Old Spice Champion. Believe in your smell.
Dave Fleming and Sean Farner back here in Anaheim. That's what's at stake here tonight. This is the championship game of the DirecTV Classic from the Anaheim Convention Center. California off to the quick start against the Pacific Tigers, whose coach Bob Thomason before the game had a spirited message for his Tigers.
Stay focused, one play at a time. That's why we're playing well right now. We're playing one play. Doesn't matter if you make a mistake or don't make a mistake. Let it go. Play the next play. Sprint back on defense. And take charges, guys. Get there early and take charges tonight. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
When Coach Thomason referenced why we are playing well, and the Tigers have been playing well. They beat a good Xavier team in the quarterfinals and really took it to St. Mary's in the semifinals. Lorenzo McLeod led the way, getting Pacific to this championship matchup with the California Golden Bears.
They shot 71% in the second half against Xavier in their opening round game. And you saw at the bottom of your screen there, 44-7. The bench outscored the starters. So they've gotten great production from everybody. It is a team effort. The problem tonight, though, is they are just struggling to find those clean looks. They are 3 of 14 shooting.
They found a clean look there. Cal just left the shooter Andrew Bach wide open, and he missed the shot. So the poor shooting numbers continue for Pacific. Brandon Smith airballed it. So that was not a good look for Cal.
Well, Cal has had a lot of success working in their half-court set, and one way to grade that out is how many assists per made field goals. They've got 5 assists on 6 made field goals to the California Golden Bears.
Much needed stick back for Colin Beatty, the senior from Maryland, off the missed shot.
That ends a 10-0 run for the California Golden Bears.
23-10, Cal with the lead and the ball. Alan Crabbe still getting a rest on the bench for Mike Montgomery's team.
And shift up and go to the zone defense, trying to clog the middle of the paint.
A change defensive look from Bob Thomason and Pacific. Cobbs, tough contested shot, and perfect.
So good, so smooth, the ability to step back and elevate. Shoots better than 70% from inside the three-point line, does Cobbs.
Hard to play better defense than that, and Cobbs still got the bucket. There's Taku, one dribble, got cut off by Cobbs. He was pretty good on the defensive end as well. That three-pointer short, leads to the breakout. Solomon, tough catch and the finish.
So skilled as a big. That's a good pass from Smith, but Solomon to catch it with somebody right around him and finish.
6'10". I'm not sure there are a lot of big men in college hoops who can look that smooth on a play like that. That was impressive. Solomon playing good defense. Travis Fulton passed up the shot. Tigers need to pick it up. They're in danger of just getting blown out in this championship game. Fulton to Kelly, a spin move, good defense from Thurman, and the ball caroms around. Pacific's going to come away with it. Beatty scores again.
Couple second chance opportunities in the last couple of possessions for Cal. They're going to continue to turn it up. Bob Thomason, as he told him, don't get frustrated. You make a bad play, let's make a good one after it. And that's going to be his mantra throughout the course of this game. Okay, we're down, but can we scratch our way back into it? Starts at the defensive end, getting stops consecutively.
Cobbs, nifty feed to the post. Solomon couldn't find an opening to shoot. Brandon Smith in the lane, no good. Rebound Pacific. Andrew Bach into the front court. Down low, he found Fulton open for the lay-in.
Back-to-back possessions, scoring for Pacific. Now it comes back on them at the defensive end of the floor. The zone defense has been pretty effective so far outside of Cobbs and his ability to elevate up over the top.
Now a whistle and a foul against the Bears. A moving screen. Well, at the outset of this game, still pretty early, Sean. Give us your one-on-one.
Don't change. You got to continue to believe if you're Pacific. You know, lightning in a bottle, whatever you want to call it. The knocking off of Xavier and St. Mary's, they were playing as a group, as a unit. They need to continue to do that here tonight. California dominate the inside, and they can dominate in a variety of ways, whether it's in the rebounding category, suffocating and sniffing out all of Pacific's options underneath with the way they like to misdirect and have opportunities off the back screens in the paint.
So the one thing in particular we'll be paying close attention to here in the early minutes of this one. Beatty comes up short. Crabbe back in the game. Played good defense. Now Cobbs again. No good on the three. Rebound Tigers.
Kind of surprised Crabbe didn't initially just shoot the shot from beyond the arc. He had some space available to him.
Ross Rivera hits a three. He's a good shooter for Pacific.
And this is what we've seen out of Pacific over the course of this tournament. Down but not out. They were down 11 early against Xavier, fought their way back to take a lead at halftime. There is no quitting this team, and that's a direct reflection of the man that's coaching them on the sideline, Coach Bob Thomason.
Well, they were down 17 in this one. Brandon Smith plays it in.
That breaks a string of 3 consecutive possessions, getting stops for Pacific.
12-point lead for the Bears. Tigers feeling a little better about things these last few minutes. Samataku on the baseline up top to McLeod. Beatty spin move. First look at Tim Thomas off the bench for Pacific. He draws the foul. So a timeout here in Anaheim. California playing very well here in the early going. Now let's check in our studios with Chris Cotter.
Thank you, Dave. 23rd ranked Colorado in action tonight at the CU Event Center, taking on Air Force, and Eli Stalzer is going to spot up from the wing and drain this three-pointer. One of 7 threes for the Buffs. They've now extended their lead over Air Force 73-61. Games earlier on in the day. Number 1 Indiana, no problem with their neighbors from Muncie. Ball State 101-53, and Gonzaga outlasting Davidson. Back to Anaheim after this.
You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Well, we're back here at the DirecTV Classic. It's the championship game, a part of ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. California with the lead here in the early going. Mike Montgomery's team is playing well against the Pacific Tigers out of the Big West. Big start for Alan Crabbe and the Bears. Out of this timeout, Pacific and their big man Tim Thomas at the free throw line. And the Tigers have started to settle things down in the last few minutes. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham from Anaheim. As we wind down this great holiday weekend of college basketball, Thomas makes the first of 2 free throws.
It has been a great feast week. So many great tournaments going on around the country. Gonzaga knocking off Davidson. Elias Harris from Gonzaga, the MVP of the Old Spice Classic. Still to be determined here.
I don't think either of us surprised that the Zags played that well and won that tournament. They are a very powerful team. Has a chance to be a special year up in Spokane.
I think a great sign for him was the fact that Kelly Olynyk, in his first action, was named all-tournament team. The redshirting last year, missed the first couple of games due to a violation of the student conduct code.
It's sort of a star-studded Gonzaga team. They've got lots of weapons. I think you could say the same thing about California. Justin Cobbs, the inbounder, gets it into Alan Crabbe, their top scorer, in and out. Went down and popped right out.
Great look and good execution, though, once again on the out-of-bounds underneath.
Down low to Thomas, working against Solomon. Thomas had it stripped away, but kept possession. McLeod near that free throw line area. Rebound Solomon.
And if Solomon can consistently do what he's done in this tournament, already 6 points and 6 rebounds, Cal is going to be very strong in the Pac-12.
Travis, good look outside to Brandon Smith. Hits the jumper.
That's where Brandon Smith can get his offense. They get the ball down low. Defense collapses off. They know Smith knows that they're going to leave him. When the options are on the outside of Cobbs and Crabbe, Smith is the one guy that's going to have free and clean looks.
An important player for Cal, but not a big scorer. Kind of a role player on this Bears team.
And his role may change as this season progresses.
More good California defense. Cobbs in transition. Nice wraparound passes. He got hammered. Trying to get his teammate a good look. So a foul against Pacific. Well, the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods on Wednesday. Michigan State and Miami, 7:30 Eastern. Then Ohio State and Duke. That's another great matchup in that ACC Big Ten Challenge. 9:30 Eastern on Wednesday on ESPN. Also available live on Watch ESPN.
You mentioned Duke beating Louisville, and Plumlee really controlling that paint area. Deshaun Thomas, though, a dynamic scorer himself for the Buckeyes.
Maybe the best all-around scorer in the country right now, Thomas, for Ohio State. If Duke wins that game, the quality wins that they will have lined up in the early season.
It's tough to say that they wouldn't even surpass Indiana and become the #1 team in the country.
If you're just basing it on what teams have done so far, hard to beat what the Blue Devils have already accomplished. Cobbs at the free throw line, perfect. Christian Behrens, we'll see him for the first time in this tournament, gets some minutes. Richard Solomon getting high fives from his teammates. Mike Montgomery has to be thrilled with what he's gotten from his big man.
He's a confidence type player, Solomon. If you get him going early, usually he's able to sustain it. If he starts off sluggish, he tends to play that way throughout. So a good start here tonight for Solomon. He goes to the bench.
Tigers still shooting under 30% from the field. Rivera against Behrens. Jumper, no good. Crabbe high for the rebound. Crabbe takes the outlet. Pull up three in transition. Perfect.
It's tough to defend that. Not many options. Open court situation. You're there on the catch. He still just elevates up over the top and knocks it down.
13 for Crabbe in the first half. Thomas with the left hand. The Tigers need more of that, but they also need to find some kind of way to slow down California on the offensive end. Bears are playing free and easy on this side of the court.
A lot of that just is how crisp they're working in their half-court sets. The multitude of screens that we see for Alan Crabbe.
Double team comes, and that pass was deflected. There's a steal. Bach against Cobbs. Slipped, and I don't know how that wasn't a travel. Rivera misses the jump shot, and it doesn't cost the Bears.
They brought the double team on Alan Crabbe. No double team this time.
That one looked good out of his hand. Came up a little short, but a whistle and a foul.
Well, everything working well for Cal in the early stages of this game here in the first half. Alan Crabbe had struggled this whole entire tournament. He broke out for 13. Justin Cobbs with the mid-range jump shot. And the big fella running the floor. Cal up by 15.
Chris Cotter and Coach Greenberg back in our ESPN studios. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, Grinnell's Jack Taylor scored 138 points himself last Tuesday. What did he do for an encore tonight? And we're going to look ahead of the ACC Big Ten Challenge on Tuesday. Coach Greenberg is going to break down NC State and Michigan. Dave, Sean, we'll see you at the half.
Look, here's what I want to do next time down. Let's run 3.
All right, here we are back in Anaheim, the DirecTV Classic. It's the championship game. California really playing well in the first half. 36-21 is the Bears' lead. Cal, in this tournament so far, had a tough time with a pretty good team out of the Missouri Valley. They beat Drake 73-70 in the quarterfinals after being down big late. Then Justin Cobbs really played well against Georgia Tech in an impressive semifinal win. The Bears playing their best basketball yet of the tournament here in this championship game.
Efficiency, and those numbers that you see on the left-hand side of your screen point out to the efficiency in which we've seen from Mike Montgomery's team here tonight. And that is something that we're accustomed to seeing really over the course of his coaching career. Teams that excel with him on the bench are the teams that understand exactly what he's looking for and understanding your roles and how is your role defined.
The three-pointer, not a great shot from Tony Gill. Lanced off the rim, and Pacific gets a break. They'll keep the basketball. New shot clock. That did barely hit the rim.
Tony Gill shooting a three-point shot over a 6'10" Richard Solomon, I think, is a shot that Mike Montgomery will live with all night long.
The Tigers on offense here. Baseline jumper, way short again from Fulton. Cobbs through traffic. Brandon Smith, good look to get it back to Cobbs. Not that time, though. Andrew Bach really had nowhere to go with the ball. Got lucky that Gill was there.
Sloppy play right now from Pacific. They need to settle it down and start getting back to what they did on Thursday and Friday, and that's out executing teams. And This Cal team has matched them step for step, but you can find open looks like that one.
A quick release, and Trevin Harris is just way off after his brilliant shooting against Xavier earlier in this tournament.
4 for 4 from behind the arc in that contest, and just doesn't have it going right now tonight.
In this one so far, 0 for 3. There's a foul against the Tigers. Double bonus for California.
And they send Alan Crabbe to the free throw line,
which is just about automatic. One of the best free throw shooters in the country. Playing really well tonight.
The difficult task for Alan Crabbe is how teams will defend him throughout the course of the year. The known score, really the pulse of the offense for Cal. So he's going to get a lot of different looks, and because of that, he sometimes is going to have to show patience. Tonight, no patience necessary. Be aggressive from the start. We saw the other night he had to work hard throughout the first half to get looks in the second.
Rare free throw miss from Alan Crabbe. Tigers with Lorenzo McLeod. Extra pass. Harris wide open. Can he make a three? Still cold from the outside. Rivera sticks it back in.
And Solomon's got to do a better job boxing out in that possession. He was standing completely flat-footed, and Rivera made him look silly.
Ross Rivera, 7 points to lead the way for Pacific. He's played well. He's been a bright spot for the Tigers. Well, Cobbs just lost the ball. Basically just handed it to Lorenzo McLeod. In transition, it's Fulton. No good on the three. The Tigers are ice cold from the outside. 2 for 11 with a lot of open looks.
And a couple of those three-point shots would have gone down in the first half here with under 2 minutes to go. This game would be a lot tighter. And I think that's what Coach Thomas is going to tell his guys. Believe our shots are we're going to find ourselves a rhythm in the second half offensively, because nothing has come easy in the first half for them. They're shooting just 27% from the field. Cal shooting 55%.
Major difference there. Crabbe gets called for the foul defending the inbound play. 6th team foul against the Bears. 2nd against Crabbe. McLeod's been quiet. He's a good player. Pacific needs a little more out of him. Working against Crabbe, but gives it up. Sosa in amongst the big guys. Harris from closer in. Maybe that'll get him going.
Good movement without the ball. Sosa attacks baseline. Defense has to step 2. Creates a little bit of a gap, and Harris found it.
It's only a 12-point game. Feels like Cal has just dominated this first half, but they have not pulled away from Pacific. Cobbs catch and shoot. Good.
Inside the three-point line, it's almost automatic. We've seen him miss a couple of long-range shots here in the first half, but that time curl cut in and get into the gap.
Sosa against Solomon. Tough shot. Here's Cobbs right back on this end. Wallace enters it to Crabbe against Rivera. Looking to Solomon, who threw up a wild shot. Here's McLeod. Big 40 seconds for Pacific, trying to cut into this lead. Before halftime, Harris was pinned against the baseline, so he calls timeout to prevent the turnover. Well, we got a moment here after the Pacific timeout. Let's go inside the play, Sean.
Well, you got to have an identity of where Cobbs is. He's up here at the top of your screen. He's going to curl into this area right here, and when he does, he's going to be wide open. You see him just come off the double screen, and you go underneath. That's going to create enough space for Cobbs to pop the shot off, and he doesn't need a lot of room to finish. Transfer from Minnesota, averaged just over 12 points a game last year. You see his numbers already in the first half. He is filling up the stat sheet, not only scoring, not only rebounding the ball, but facilitating for his teammates as well.
Strong, athletic player. He transferred from Minnesota, so 2 years ago sat out a full year. And last season, not just getting back up to speed, but Jorge Gutierrez, Harper Camp, a couple of productive seniors who have graduated from Cal. And those players have left. Cobbs has taken on a much bigger role, and he looks more than ready for it. Pass in was a very sloppy one, so out of the timeout, a turnover. 2-on-1. Cobbs gives it back to Wallace. Smooth to the bucket.
Freshman runs the floor, makes the right decision, the throw ahead, and continues to put pressure on teams. I think Wallace is going to continue to impress, and he's going to have a fabulous career at Cal when it's all said and done.
Really just a terrible mistake by Pacific on the inbound play that led to the easy bucket. Now the Tigers hold for the final shot. McLeod, Taku, three, too strong, rebound. Cal saves it in, and Taku gets a pretty good look, couldn't bank it home. And that almost cost California. But the Bears will go to the locker room feeling very good about the way they played. California 57% from the field. Pacific could not get it going offensively. They shot 31%. So it's Cal 41, Pacific 27 in this championship game. Now we're going to send it to the studio with our Land Rover halftime report. Here's Chris Cotter.
Justin Cobbs, part of that dynamic backcourt in Berkeley. 10-4-4 for the Bears at the break. We're going to send you back out to Anaheim. The second half coming up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Well, we're having fun here in Southern California. The championship game of the DirecTV Classic, a part of ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Halftime score, California with the lead, 41-27 over the Pacific Tigers. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham, we're glad you spent part of your holiday weekend with us here. And Sean, California did a lot of things really well in that first half. But one thing in particular, they got their star scorer, Alan Crabbe, going.
Struggling in Anaheim over the course of this tournament, you knew he had to come out. In a championship game, you need your best players to show up. And Alan Crabbe showed up right from the start here tonight. Very aggressive first possession of the game. Step in, get fouled from behind, complete the three-point play at the free throw line. He's 3 of 4 at the line, 5 of 9.
Solomon up top, not much of an outside shooter. Here's Crabbe with the smaller Taku matched up with him. Travis double team came. His hook shot was well short.
Pacific starts the second half with back-to-back stops.
Taku attacking. He gets fouled by Brandon Smith.
Taku being very aggressive out of the break. This was the possession before where he drives in, Crabbe steps to, and Rivera finishes.
Bob Thomason told us there is a lot of untapped potential in that kid. Taku Jr. and a junior college transfer. Pacific feels like he can get better and better as the year goes on. Beatty, nice touch from the baseline. That's a long two. And a good start to the second half for the Tigers.
The lead is cut to 10.
The Pacific comes out with some purpose. McLeod right up against Justin Cobbs. Here's Crabbe off the screen, hits his first shot of the half.
So difficult to stay with him when he's working as hard as he is away from the ball. Good scores, great shooters will find a way to create looks, and Alan Crabbe is doing it tonight.
Here's McLeod, wraparound pass. Kravish intercepted it. That is really nice defense. The pass, though, was a sloppy one, and Rivera steals it away. Taku, extra pass. Beatty for three. Well short. Cal wants to slow it up in the half court. Cobbs. That help came from Rivera, but Cobbs still with the quickness to get into the lane. Hits the little pull-up.
You see, he's like a little bulldog. He just works his way, buries his head, and gets to the spot that he wants to get to, and then elevates.
I cannot imagine there are many players in the country who are better at that move than Justin Cobbs. Very hard screen. Helps set up that offensive possession, and Beatty gets another bucket.
I would agree with you, though, Dave. You look at the shoulders, the upper body strength of Cobbs. He's one of his biggest strengths as a player.
Kelly fouls Cobbs away from the basket.
When you go inside the play, you look at how Alan Crabbe will work for his shot. He's going to start here, and he's going to end up in this area here, and it's the screening action on the baseline. Smith gets the initial contact. The defense doesn't shift over. Kravish gets just enough as he turns to create the space for Crabbe. That's excellent teamwork to find Alan Crabbe, and excellent work away from the ball.
Yeah, they have done that all game long, trying to get their score going. Cobbs now backing it in. Physical play. Cobbs draws the foul. A lot of contact all play long. Justin Cobbs will go to the free throw line.
Bob Thomason saying you got to pinch. You've got to pinch and you've got to collapse. Cobbs deserves the attention. You get to the free throw line as often as he has. This will be his 7th and 8th attempt already with 17 minutes left to go. He came into this game with 21 free throw attempts in 2 games.
So that's a real skill, the ability to get to the line and then make the free throws once you get there. Cobbs is working on a big game alongside his high-scoring teammate Alan Crabbe. Bears have a 14-point lead. Mike Montgomery's team gunning for the championship of this DirecTV Classic in Anaheim. Tigers starting to shoot the ball better, that's for sure. Lob over the top and getting better looks. That one was missed, but Beatty, who's heating up on the offensive end, cleans it up.
Follow your pass, find the gap. Nobody put a body on him.
Solomon down low. Kravish with the layup.
Beautiful high-low, quick entry pass from Solomon. A lot of times bigs stand on the outside and they want to look for that perfect angle, and they hold back just a little bit, but because of the good touch and the rhythm of that offensive set, Kravish was open.
De Sosa on the perimeter using the dribble. Hand check foul called against Cobbs. His first personal foul. Second team foul against the Bears. Thomas, the big man, comes in. And Khalil Kelly takes a seat on the Pacific bench. Mike Montgomery also is going to swap out big men. Solomon out, and Robert Thurman, the senior, comes in.
The freshman Wallace ran right past the scorer's table. The official had to tell him, you got to stop. You got to go back, check into the game first before running out on the floor.
There's a protocol. The young kid gets it right. Cobbs will take a seat. 14-point deficit for the Tigers. Rivera, quick release, hits the three.
There's the first of what will have to be many three-pointers here in the second half for Pacific.
The defense by Thomas, a steal for the Tigers. Beatty in transition. Thomas trying to get the ball down low. Rivera's starting to feel more confident. The whistle, though, out of bounds off of Pacific. Timeout here in Anaheim.
A lot of things went well for Cal in the first half. A little communication might be necessary on the defensive end. Pacific playing tough basketball, fighting their way back. Bears up by 11 here in the title game of the DirecTV Classic in the newly expanded and reimagined Disney California Adventure Park. Holiday cheer is everywhere, from the traditional Christmas tree and the classic decor donning Buena Vista Street. Not to mention the new Cars Land over there. Cars starts with a C, and so does Cobbs and Crabbe. And they have been explosive tonight. 61% of the total point production for Cal so far has come from those two.
They're going to play some word games now, huh?
Trying to. A little Scrabble with you. You're a Stanford man, Fleming. I'm trying to step up my game.
California ball. Tyrone Wallace on the break. Thurman didn't look like he really wanted to shoot. Now he's going to back things a little closer and kick it out to the freshman Wallace. Bears playing well. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham from Anaheim. Brandon Smith rattles home the long two. We've had a fun weekend down here. Some great college basketball. You and I took our families over to Disneyland, California Adventure, as part of this holiday week. And now watching the championship game. Pacific has made a push here in the second half. Crabbe, good hands on defense. Rivera goes by Thurman and got knocked to foul on the floor.
You know, we watch a lot of teams play defense, and you see guys close out to the wing and their hands are down, and then they're late on the pass, they're late on the shot. One of the things Mike Montgomery's guys do very well on a consistent basis, they close out with their hands up, and their length, whether it's Crabbe or Wallace in particular, allows them to gap up and be very effective defensive players.
He's had great defensive teams at Cal for years and years. Mike Montgomery's teams at Stanford were among the best defensive teams in the country. Sort of hung his hat on that as a coach. Two-time National Coach of the Year, four-time Pac-10/12 Coach of the Year. 650 wins, plus a stint in the NBA as a head coach. Harris for three. He has not been able to get it going tonight. Rivera fighting hard, out of bounds off of Cal.
Now Harris needs to knock down those shots from the perimeter. 58% on the season from behind the arc, and he has yet to connect in this one.
A good point. 0 for 4 in this game, and he throws a terrible inbound pass to Crabbe, who steals it. Smith back to Crabbe, tough lob. Crabbe couldn't finish, but he stays with the ball.
That was essentially an outlet pass from Pacific for Cal.
Tigers got lucky. That was not a great feed from Brandon Smith. Bears still have possession, though. Crabbe curls around, misses the jumper this time. Kravish had it ripped away, but that's a reach-in foul against Pacific. Foul against Roger De Sosa, his third personal. 51-38, California with the lead. 14-13 to go. Crabbe will be the inbounder. Cobbs gets right back in the game after a short rest. Mike Montgomery's going to play his stars big minutes this year.
Well, depth is always a question mark for a team, and a sloppy handoff that time by Kravish.
And that is an over and back. Cobbs arguing that it got touched, but I think it was just as you described it, just not a very good handoff. Mike Montgomery also arguing.
He's got to be sure with it. As he puts it in there, yeah, that's a great call by this officiating crew. Pacific never made contact with the ball. Had they touched it, then Cal would have been able to pick it up and regain possession.
So they got the rule right. Here's Thomas down low. Hook shot good.
I think it's coming a lot easier here in the second half for Pacific. We mentioned they shot 71% versus Xavier.
If the Tigers start knocking down even a couple threes, this game is going to get interesting. Pacific has definitely picked up its play in the second half. Over the top, Solomon in one move finishes.
That was silky smooth by Richard Solomon underneath to catch and finish like that.
Really nice play by Solomon. McLeod has it stolen away. Cobbs anticipated. Cobbs on the move. Finger roll. He missed it. And that is an unusual mistake from Justin Cobbs. Trailing the play. The three-pointer in and out. No good. Fulton couldn't quite get it to go.
That is the second time, though, that Cal has had an opportunity for a layup. We had the lob by Smith to Crabbe. That was a miss. And then Cobbs, that time, another one. Those little mistakes in tight games later on down the road, you can't afford to make those mistakes in transition.
Pretty good look by Solomon to find his teammate. Kravish is having a hard time shoot the ball in this game. Lorenzo McLeod has been quiet offensively. Thomas, one power dribble, gets the shot up. They're going to count the basket.
Thomas, limited minutes in this tournament, really limited minutes all season long. But he is stepping up down low, adding a little strength, a little muscle underneath. Definitely has the size advantage on Kravish. Wallace reaches in, and Thomas able to finish up over the top.
Travis Fulton, by the way, at the other end, had a contact knocked out. He knew exactly where it was. He ran down to that end of the court, picked it up, and he's going to go to the bench.
Half the time, I can't find my keys in my house. That was impressive.
He knew right where to go. Travis Fulton, even without the contact in, he's got pretty good eyesight. Thomas at the free throw line. The big man trying to complete a three-point play.
He hadn't scored in the last 3 games that he has played.
with this big Cal team. I think Bob Thomas had decided to go with a little more size. It's been effective.
He's got 8 points. The lead just 11. Plenty of time for Pacific.
Again, Cal has dominated this game, but the Tigers finding a way to hang around. Wallace with a lot of contact. It's going the other way. That is an offensive foul against the freshman Wallace.
And what did Bob Thomason tell his team before the game? We need to get a charge. We need to get charges, take charges, be aggressive, look for the charge. You had 1 charge attempt there. The second one was the one that was able to draw it. So not only did you have 1 person willing to sacrifice their body, you had 2 on the same play. That's the kind of Pacific brand of basketball that Bob Thomason has expected out of his team for the last 25 years.
Both teams have taken pretty good care of the ball. That is not a good shot. Thomas way off the mark from the outside. Cobbs wraparound bounce pass. Solomon just lost it. Saves it in bounds, but right to the Tigers. That was going to be a dunk. Bach in traffic, and the game has gotten a little ugly. That'll be a foul against the Bears. Bach got totally bailed out there. Well, Mike Montgomery, the look says it all. His Bears, though, gunning for the championship of this DirecTV Classic. They lead by 11. ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods on Tuesday. A doubleheader on ESPN. 2 really good games. NC State, Michigan at 7:30 Eastern. North Carolina travels to Indiana to take on the #1 Hoosiers at 9:30 Eastern. That's Tuesday on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. We're here at the DirecTV Classic. It's been an interesting weekend in Anaheim. Pacific with a couple of upsets to get here. Matthew Dellavedova, great performance in the quarterfinals. And how about an unheralded player, Sean? Jordan Clark for Drake.
Just a phenomenal tournament for him. A double-double average, a double-double every night in this tournament. He had 18 rebounds in their second-round game, and then once again tonight putting it together. A big tournament for him, and this young fella's enjoying himself.
Watching his Bears.
Might be a Giants fan with some of those moves, Dave.
Yeah, I could teach him a few more. California with the 53-42 lead. A couple of Northern California teams here. You figure there are a lot of Giants fans in attendance tonight. 2 programs with proud tradition in the northern part of this state. Harris still trying to get going, and he gets fouled on a 3. So Allen Crabbe, that's a mistake.
A big-time mistake when you foul a shooter from the outside. He is a standstill shooter, and he's been struggling to find any kind of rhythm and flow to his game offensively. He has not been on point in this contest, and now you send him to the free throw line where maybe he gets an opportunity to find himself in a rhythm. And we've seen this even throughout the course of this tournament.
It was Ben Simons the other night who was having a hard time. The excellent shooter for Drake, and 2 technical fouls against the Bears in their quarterfinal matchup with Drake. Got Simons going, got the Bulldogs going, and almost cost Cal a victory.
Well, this one, if you tuned away, you don't know how much fight these Tigers have in them, because they have stepped it up. They're shooting 64% from the field in the second half, and now it's an 8-point game here in the championship, and the pressure is starting to build for the Bears.
Yeah, Sean, it's the first time it's been in single digits since it was 16-8. Solomon gets it back to a 10-point lead. The closest it's been since the early stages of the first half. Tigers still have a ways to go. Harris, the bounce pass, but a whistle and a foul on the floor is going to be called against California. A hold.
Solomon sets the screen on the baseline, shapes up, deep post position. Shuffle of the feet.
Well, clearly got away with a travel and scored. So that's a break for the Bears. There's a shuffle and then some. 18 fouls already against Cal. Gill for the front end of the 1-and-1 earns the second. Just basically a reverse of the first half when California got in the bonus early. Now it's the Tigers who are there.
Well, they've been the more aggressive team. They're actually +8 in second chance opportunities. They're +6 in points in the paint. So Pacific attacking even the taller, more athletic size of Cal underneath, and they're doing an excellent job, whether it's attacking it from the perimeter off the bounce or cutting and moving without the ball.
The Rivera sagged way off on defense from Crabbe. Now a whistle and a foul against Pacific, this time away from the ball.
And Gill got tied up underneath. Just laying all over Richard Solomon.
Fourth team foul against Pacific, so still a ways to go before the Bears are in the bonus. Crabbe will inbound the ball. They've also found a way to slow down Alan Crabbe after the big first half.
They basically face guarded him all over the floor.
Crabbe through traffic, whistle, foul.
And they're giving him 2 shots. So Alan Crabbe off the curl cut. You mentioned defensively, how do you guard him? Well, one of the things that Mike Montgomery did an excellent job and his coaching staff in the first half was figuring out different ways to set screens from different angles to allow Alan Crabbe to exploit Pacific. And in the second half, that hasn't been as easy because they've been doing a lot of switching on those screens and those situations. That time, though, a good, hard double screen up top, staggered, and the defense didn't rotate around.
Points quieter in the second half. The shot attempts down. Crabbe, though, at the free throw line makes them both.
The good thing about Alan Crabbe is he doesn't also force a lot of looks. I mean, usually his shot attempts are pretty high quality, which is why he has such a high field goal percentage, not only from three-point land, but also just generally overall.
Rivera faces against Crabbe. Nifty little spin move, missed the shot. Gill there for the rebound. Extra pass. Gill, the shot fake, finds Rivera, and his shot fake will end up earning him a trip to the free throw line.
And that'll be the third foul on Richard Solomon, but that's just great teamwork by Pacific. A quick ball reversal around the outside, an up fake, dump down underneath. And the one thing you say about Richard Solomon is he's not going to give up an easy one underneath, at least on that possession.
Ross Rivera, the junior from Visalia, California. Honorable mention, Big West player last year. He was the 6th man of the year in that league, and now a starter on this Pacific team. He's taken well to that role.
And he came off the bench and averaged about 13 points in league play. Shot better than 49%. Was second in the free throw department in the league at 85%. So he earned himself the opportunity to be a starter this year and kind of helped out a little bit by some injuries, but has made the most of it.
Based on those numbers, rare miss at the line for Rivera. Cobbs, crossover move, tough pull up, short. Rebound, Tigers. Chance to cut farther into this lead, 57-48 Cal. Rivera hands off to Samataku. Taku found an opening, way too strong. Solomon tried to rip down the rebound, hit the ground. That was a good chance for Pacific there. Taku had a good look. Wallace down low. Solomon gets it right back to him. Shot clock down to 10. And where does Cal go late in the shot clock? Usually this guy. But Cobbs, just a sloppy pass. Still some time to get off a shot. Wallace heaves one up there. No good.
Not a good possession for Cal, but a great defensive possession for Pacific. No separation between any of the Bears and the Tigers on that one. They were right on their man throughout.
Rivera against Crabbe. I think he feels like he's got the advantage there, but Crabbe played great defense.
You get below the level of the backboard and you try to bring it out. You're not going to get bailed out with a foul call.
Crabbe working hard to get the ball. Cal couldn't get it to him. Crabbe dumps it down low. Solomon one dribble. Gets to the line.
And DeSosa is not going to be helping in. I mean, they are covering Crabbe wherever he goes. If Crabbe stayed on the defensive end of the floor, there'd be a Pacific Tiger standing next to him. Good effort by DeSosa so far here in the second half to kind of frustrate Alan Crabbe, but because of that, he vacated the help side position, and Solomon was open underneath. No choice but to foul in that situation. It was either going to be a foul and make him earn it at the free throw line or an easy dunk.
Another productive game for Richard Solomon. Gets the bounce on the first free throw. He is the X-factor player for California. They have a chance to win the Pac-12 if Solomon consistently plays at a high level.
And he's played at a very high level in this tournament. I mean, even in some of the games where he's gotten into foul trouble and he's had to sit on the bench, still came into tonight's contest averaging 11 and 7 for the 2 games prior to this one, and goes to the bench now with 12 and 8.
I think Montgomery happy with his effort so far in this one. He'll get a rest. Thurman in. Back to an 11-point California lead. The Tigers have tantalized. They've got close to really chipping away. Still looking for a bigger run. De Sosa on the perimeter, back to McLeod. Lorenzo McLeod feeds the post. Khalil Kelly back up top. McLeod's 3 short. Rebound. Smith and De Sosa fighting for it. Good hustle by De Sosa, but Cal comes away. And now Crabbe, the 3 in transition, too strong. McLeod on the attack with the left hand.
A nice finish in the open floor. Take a big long miss, an early shot attempt by Allen Crabbe. Floor spaced out. Get him back in transition, and McLeod, who's had a quiet game so far, needed that one.
Just 4 points for Lorenzo McLeod. Crabbe, one bounce down low. Thurman couldn't dunk it home. The rim got in the way. Thurman bulls his way in, misses another shot. Rebound Pacific.
Just didn't have the lift.
Now Taku down low with the foul. The bucket for Travis Fulton. And the Tigers are coming to life here in Anaheim.
And can cut it to 6 at the free throw line. The Pacific Tigers will bring a fight. It's how they got to the championship game. No quit mentality. Play as a group, play as a team, play unselfish. We're going to have a good finish.
Chris Cotter in our ESPN studios out of Pauley Pavilion. UCLA struggling right now against Cal Poly. Here's Dylan Royer with the 3 for Poly, and that put them up by 4. Then UCLA gets a little bit of a helter-skelter fast break here. The freshman Kyle Anderson is going to find Jordan Adams for the hoop and some harm. UCLA leading by just 1 right now in the first half, guys.
All right, Chris, thanks. We're back here in Anaheim, down the freeway from Pauley Pavilion. California's lead has been whittled down to 7, 59-52. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham. Sean, former team captain at UCLA. The Bruins ultra talented this year, but in the early going, still trying to figure things out.
I think it starts with being able to defend the ball at the point of attack, and that starts at the point guard position, and they have yet to get quality play at the point guard.
Cal's gotten quality from Cobbs, but not that time. Pacific's defense has really come to life. And the Tigers down by 7, trying to get closer. Great look. Kelly had it knocked away. What a defensive play by Brandon Smith. And then the Bears lost it out of bounds.
Brandon Smith, an excellent swipe from the weak side position. A good high-low pass. Smith comes in from the wing, and Thurman, who struggled at the offensive end on the dunk attempt and hit the bottom of the rim, that time throws an ill-advised pass to Wallace.
So tough stretch for Robert Thurman. He'll go to the bench. Solomon right back in the game. Allen Crabbe also is going to come back in for Tyrone Wallace. 7-point lead for Cal, but Pacific has the ball. They have the energy. They have the momentum in this game. The Tigers bench again has been very strong tonight. McLeod. Down low, Kelly calling for the ball. Wants to make a move against Solomon. Elevates to score.
You love the confidence. When a big man posts and demands the ball like Kelly did there, you feed him and you let him make his move.
His first basket of the game, but a big one. The lead is down to 5. Kravish down low, trying to counter on this end. Kravish, a much tougher move, but he scores with the foul.
Kravish has had a difficult night finding good looks for himself deep in post position, and just like Kelly did the other end, he's got Kelly on his back, and he goes right up through him with that right-handed hook, earning the trip to the free throw line.
Big basket for Cal.
And I really like David Crabbe. I think he is very strong. I know he's slight in his frame, but he's stronger than his body looks. He's always in the right position. He usually has his hands up, ready to go, and a very good rebounder.
A quick leaper, quick off the floor. Does a lot of things for this California team. A big three-point play to put Cal back up by 8. Taku, one dribble, pull-up shot, no good. And there's Kravish, got his hands on the ball, but Kelly flying all over the place. Brandon Smith comes out with it to Crabbe. Alan Crabbe in transition, scored with the foul.
Alan Crabbe in the open floor, going through the contact. Very close to what could have been a charge play. Not set, still sliding over. Crabbe gets the call and goes to the free throw line.
Good shot.
Pacific has fought back in this contest and can't afford to allow run-out opportunities for Cal.
Crabbe misses at the free throw line. 10-point California lead. Tigers giving the Bears a real push in the second half. Cal led by as many as 17. Really has controlled this game from the outset. Trying to win the DirecTV Classic here in Anaheim. McLeod steps in, misses the good look. Brandon Smith, another outlet. This time to Cobbs, who goes to the bucket for the lay-in.
Back-to-back possessions where poor offensive looks for Pacific has allowed Cal to get an easy look in transition. And credit Cal for their defensive effort, stepping up in the last 2 possessions to push and create opportunities, because life in the half court hasn't been easy in the second half for the Golden Bears. But when you've got Justin Cobbs, he can get out and fill it.
With that break, and he will miss an undetermined amount of time. Stay tuned to SportsCenter and ESPN.com for more details. Now back out to Dave and Sean.
All right, thanks. That is obviously some big news across college basketball with one of the very best teams, Louisville, and their best defender out for some extended period of time, you'd imagine. Meanwhile, California led by 14 at the half. Pacific with a lot of great effort here in the second half, cut it down to 5, but the Bears have extended on a 7-0 run.
Pacific has to get back to what it was doing during that run, and that's taking high percentage looks. The last couple of shot attempts have been off-balance runners. Start on the outside, utilize some of your cuts away from the ball to create space and one-on-one opportunities to get easy looks.
Bolton. Sosa gives it up to Harris. Cal defense right on top of the shooters.
Great switch by Crabbe.
Sosa goes by Crabbe. Solomon swats it. Gill puts it back in.
And that's Pacific basketball. Second chance opportunities. They're leading in that category by now 11 versus Cal in second chance points. And a lot of that just staying with it. Shot goes up, crash.
Wow, making it tough on Cobbs, but that is very difficult to defend.
Just bounced right off of him. 18 points now for Cobbs. He has been sensational in this DirecTV Classic.
I think everything taken into account, he's been the best player in the tournament.
Well, if Cal goes on to win this game, he should be the MVP.
Gill squeezed through the defense, but then missed the shot. Kravish put a lick on his teammate Alan Crabbe. The Bears are going to slow it up as Crabbe sort of shakes it off. Clock is the ally of California at this point. Up 12, under 4 to play. Solomon down low. Shot fake, drew some contact, no whistle. Blocking foul against Brandon Smith at this end.
Easy call.
So that sends us to a timeout here in Anaheim. The Bears are 3:25 away from a championship in the DirecTV Classic.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by Gildan. We make your favorite activewear, underwear, and socks. Gildan, every thread counts. And the Venture Card from Capital One. Earn double miles you can actually use.
ESPN's coverage of the ACC Big Ten Challenge will continue on Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, Michigan State and Miami. Then at 9:30, two top 10 teams, Ohio State and Duke. 9:30 Eastern on Wednesday on ESPN. Also available live on Watch ESPN, the ACC Big Ten Challenge. How about the 1-2 punch tonight, Sean, for the Bears?
Yeah, the C's of Cal are extremely strong at the offensive end of the floor. Whether it's the silky smooth ability of Alan Crabbe, who continues to improve all aspects of his game, getting to the free throw line, the mid-range jump shot, or the strength of Justin Cobbs. I mean, the ability to go through contact, absorb contact, stop on a dime, pull up, doesn't need a lot of space, and 56% of their scoring tonight, just as it's been through the first 5 games, comes on the shoulders of those two players. And for Mike Montgomery, that may be a concern at times this season, of having to rely on just 2 players to get a majority of your scoring. But when they're as dynamic and as versatile as they are, I don't see any way that that can be a negative.
Yeah, it'd be more of a concern if those 2 guys weren't so good, but they are.
Well, and what it does is it allows guys like Richard Solomon to step up and have the type of game he's having tonight with 12 and 8, and Crabbe getting 10 rebounds. The little things that all add up from the collective unit outside of those 2 will strengthen Cal throughout the course of the season. Make them a very difficult matchup for any team in the Pac-12 Conference.
Brandon Smith handling the ball so far on this possession. Here's Cobbs. Off the look from Crabbe, and then the give to Solomon. To the free throw line for the big man, Richard Solomon.
Those are things that Cobbs maybe doesn't get as much credit for, is his playmaking ability. Drawing the defense, getting the attention his way, and a nice dump down pass underneath, and doesn't get credit for an assist. He's got 5 in the game, but that's a pass that's good enough to warrant an assist.
I think he wanted his teammate to go up and make that shot. Now Cobbs with a little smile after that was not your conventional free throw make.
It's a soft touch.
Very. Right off the back end of the iron. And look at the shooter's roll. A lot of different ways to get it done. Solomon will come out of the game for a moment. 12-point lead. Pacific's got to get it done right now. Running out of time. 3:02 to go.
And they haven't gotten to the free throw line very much after getting in the bonus. And that was something they could have used to their advantage in this game.
Yeah, you're right about that. They were in the bonus with 11+ minutes to go. De Sosa switched to the left hand, but the defense was right there.
Mike Montgomery quickly gets off the bench. Tells Smith to slow it on down, establish their offense.
Crabbe making his move back up top to Smith, who was open. Smith for 2.
That's all he has to do. All season long, that's all he's going to have to do. Pass, get them in their offense, float out to the opposite side. The defense is going to leave him alone. Make him pay. One of the key components, too, we haven't talked about tonight is the future of this team in this position could get strengthened a great deal by Ricky Krecklow. He's missed significant time with a foot injury throughout the non-conference season, the early practices, and was expected to play, was expected to be part of this team in this tournament, but felt a tweak in that same foot that had hampered him all non-conference so far. And he's at the end of the bench for the California Golden Bears, but another scoring option, a tough kid, plays good defense, the little hustle plays, really benefit Cal.
Bears are pulling away here. And even without Ricky Krecklow, they're going to check him out when they get home tomorrow and hope that it's not another serious foot injury, because they think he's got a chance to be a big part of this team. Nice move, but Samataku didn't finish. That's sort of emblematic of the way this game has gone for the Tigers.
credit to the California Golden Bears. They came out immediately with a sense of urgency. They knew what Pacific was going to want to do. They were going to want to play hard. They were going to try to execute. And it was going to start at the beginning of who wanted it more, who brought the energy, and who was more crisp in their execution. And it was Cal.
Cobbs just sort of toying with the defense now. Cobbs got right into the lane with the soft touch himself.
He's instant offense. And anytime he wants to score, he can score. It's been that easy throughout the course of the DirecTV Classic.
Very talented junior, Justin Cobbs. McLeod, the bad pass, the outlet to Alan Crabbe, and here he goes. Crabbe with emphasis. And the Cal fans are starting to celebrate. Final 35 seconds of this game. The championship will go to the Bears. Pacific, 2 upsets, but not a third. And the Tigers with Ross Rivera having the ball knocked out of bounds. Pacific will keep the ball. ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app.
And Justin Cobbs, who were just handed the paperwork, he is your 2012 most outstanding player of the DirecTV Classic. And he'll be joined by Alan Crabbe and Lorenzo McLeod from Pacific, who has not particularly played well in this contest.
The all-tournament team. Cobbs gobbles up the rebound. Pacific will back off, and the Bears will just let the final seconds tick off. Impressive win and an impressive weekend for California.
A business trip for the California Golden Bears as they throw the ball out of bounds with 2.2 seconds left to go.
They got to work on their celebration. They got to work on their last-second offense.
Well, what happened was Richard Sullivan was on the bench pointing at the rim, and so Cobbs thought that he wanted it, so he threw it at him. The problem was Sullivan was on the bench.
Yeah, that doesn't work well. Bob Thomas and Mike Montgomery, 2 longtime adversaries, but friends, colleagues in the coaching business. Shake hands after this one. The Bears are the champions of the 2012 DirecTV Classic. We've seen teams in the past, Sean, use this as a jumping off point to bigger success. Can California do the same?
Without question. In the Pac-12 conference right now, with the way this non-conference has worked out for that conference, obviously Colorado and Tad Boyle off to a great start. Arizona playing well. UCLA struggling a little bit. I think Cal is going to be right there in the thick of it by the time we get to February and early March.
Now, the Bears played well. There is, we were talking about it, the all-tournament team. Justin Cobbs, the most outstanding player. His teammate Alan Crabbe on the team as well. Jordan Clark had a record-setting performance for Drake. Samaje Kristen, nice freshman for Xavier. Great tournament, great weekend. We're glad you're with us here from Anaheim. The championship goes to the Bears. Final score, 78-58 Cal. For Sean Farnham and our great crew, Dave Fleming saying so long from Anaheim. Coming up next, the 2012 World Series of Poker. Good night from Anaheim.